Happy Cyber Monday, everybody. This is NAWSH. We're going to give this a go. I can't really afford to do much on Black Friday. I bought a couple things, but I wanted to do something musical. And, well, Native Instruments is having this sale. We got a lot of stuff half off. I thought I'd try something, so here we go. I have my eye on this one particular little expansion they got for like 25 bucks because that's all I can really afford right now, so we're just going to go with that. So let's take a look. Cyber season. It's a whole season, you guys. So hopefully this video is out in time for a few of you to maybe buy this, but it's still pretty cheap anyway. It's like 50 bucks, even when it's not on sale. So let's find it real quick. All right, we got Cloud Supply. You know, the number one goal in making this video is just having some fun with some music. But there is a number two goal, and that is maybe making something that I might want to sing to. So this seemed like something that might lead to something that might lead to something. Let's take a look. Nebular trap melodics create huge hooks with synth keys, plex pads, melodic arpeggios, and more. 100 presets of melodic fire. You heard that right, melodic fire. All right, so effortlessly tweak your sounds to hit your sweet spot or dive deep and create your own custom presets, effect chains, and macro controls. We might get into a little bit of that, but I think the idea here is to just kind of do something fast, go with the flow, see what the presets are about, see if they're inspiring, and see if we can make something that's kind of cool. Let's take a listen. Okay, sounds good. Let's go ahead and, well, we gotta log in real quick. Damn, I should probably update my password. All right, $24.50. All right, we got that. So now we gotta get it installed here. Of course, we gotta update native access before we update I think all of this works inside the Kontakt player. 1.88 gigs of stuff. It's kind of a big download. I'm looking forward to this. Should be fun. Should be fun once it's in there. Damn, these crickets are loudest. Okay, we are ready to go. Let's open this up. It should be right inside of the Kontakt player. Kontakt. Which one is it, man? I don't even know. Is this 6 or 4? Or... We just double click that shit? What do we do? Try. What? There we go. What does it sound like out of the box? What's the first preset that you hear? All right, you guys. So we have to do somewhat of a redo. A lot of my video that I recorded the other day got kind of ruined because I didn't have Ableton going through the right channels in my computer so that OBS would record it. So here we are. I'm gonna just kind of backtrack and go through the various things that I did with the cloud. What's it called? With Cloud Supply. So the first thing we started with was this kind of eerie intro sound. It's based on a little bit of a sequencer that they got going on in here. If you go to the sequencer section, it opens up this tab and you can play with the pitch, velocity, and basically set the key. I wanted to put everything in D minor just because I felt like it. It's a good range for guitar if I decide to add guitar later. I'm just kind of comfortable with that key, so I'm just going with it. And then I kind of came up with a little bit of a part that's kind of uses the sequence, not the whole thing, but it's basically playing around with the notes that I'm being given and creating something new with it. Now, the other thing that I did was I messed around a lot with the macros and a tiny bit with the effects. I reordered some of this stuff, and I think I adjusted, I think I added the chorus. I don't think the chorus was even there before. And so this is a heavily changed version of the Mesa preset. And I should go ahead and maybe like save this. Save it. No, no, that's not the kind of save we want to do. We need to do this save. So yeah, I recorded myself. I did some quantizing, as I think I might show in the other video, and came up with this guy, which uses a ton of processing power. So we're going to freeze the track in a minute. And then I added a compressor to sidechain it from the kick. I want to emphasize the kick. So I'm basically going to sidechain most shit on the click. The click, the kick, the kick, sidechain. Do it. Just to go real quick for those of you that don't know how to do sidechaining with the compressor, in Ableton, it's really simple. You just hit this little arrow here. You get the little sidechain option. You turn it on. You pick which track you want to use as your source. I got the kick here. So as you can see, the kick, when it starts, will start to go into this input here for the threshold. And you'll start to hear those little cuts right there. I didn't want to get too crazy with it. It doesn't go down to infinite. The ratio is just set to a little under 8. The attack, I wanted right on the beat, so it's a 100th of a millisecond. And then the release, you got to play with because you want it to kind of have a little bit of a musical feel as it fades back in. So it depends on the instrument. The release is something that is, it's kind of different on every single track that you're going to sidechain based on how you want it to be cutting out and coming back. So just to compare, let's go ahead and duplicate this, and I will show you what it sounded like before I added all that stuff and changed the patch. So I think it's under lead, Mesa. So you can hear it's a lot cleaner. I got the chorus going on. I made it like fuzzier, more lo-fi sounding. I think I changed the sequence a little bit. Maybe not that much. I think the main thing I did was just make sure it was in D minor, because it was not at first. So it was kind of playing different notes. It was a different melody, actually. Kind of it's the way that this interacts with the key setting here is interesting. It actually threw me off later on when I was editing another part, because I thought I had a note that was in key, but it was actually forcing it to be in key. The MIDI note that I put in there was actually out of key, and it took me until I copied and pasted that MIDI line to another instrument for me to realize, like, oh, some sounds off here. So you hear that's a pretty big difference. That's after all my edits. It's got a lot more feel going on, a lot more eerie. So I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And that was just flipping through a few presets and kind of just going with it. From there, let's go ahead and freeze that bag. From there, I wanted to start adding beat elements. So we got Native Instruments Battery, also from Native Instruments. I don't have any expansions for this. I just have the bass pack for Battery, and it works out pretty well. It's like most of the drum sounds you are gonna want, and then anything that you want to get to, you could usually create via editing the waveform, playing with the sample in different ways, resampling, adding effects, etc. So I feel like I'm never at a loss even with this. I think if I bought expansions for Battery, it would just be more like shortcuts, kind of like what Cloud Supply is in the first place. And this takes forever. I just had to shut the windows, man. The crickets are loud outside. I swear a few months ago it wasn't like this. Okay, we're done. All right, that's all frozen for now. It takes a lot of processing power to run these samples through the Kontakt player with all the effects and everything. It's taxing. So you pretty much got to freeze your tracks. And who knows, compatibility wise, in a few years from now. Pro tip: bounce your shit to audio. I don't do enough of that. I need to give this tip to myself right now. When I watch this video, I'm also going to be receiving this tip. So you're welcome, self. Now we're gonna try and make this faster. We're gonna go ahead and go to a kit. But what do we want here? Open a kit. I feel like this kit is already pretty cool. Let's go ahead and just like try to do something with this. Now I feel like it needs to be faster. Let's just go up to 74. Let's see, too fast. That's too fast. 73. Maybe something like that. I added the hat later, and I just kind of went with it. And then afterwards, I made sure that we routed things. So just to show you all real quick how you route with battery, this is kind of important. So we're going to solo just the drums right here. All right, so just to like see where I'm at, I watch the beat happen and you see the little light up kind of animation happen. I know that's the kick I'm working with. You right click right on the pad and output. You do not want to send it to master. You want to send it to one of your direct outs. I got the kick going to 5/6. It's always in a stereo pair. It's kind of annoying, but it's still a mono thing. You could always throw a utility on there and make sure that it's mono later if you need to. But yeah, so I got that going to 5/6, and then the clap here. It's right here. That one we got going to 3/4, and then we got our hi-hats going 7/8, right? Oh, and I guess I kind of skipped something here. So I output on battery. Basically, this is how you set it up. So on battery, we set all those outputs. You got to have your I/O section showing here. You can open that up right here. And you set your input to be battery, the channel that you want. If I were to set up like a new audio track, I'd do this again. It's going to be battery, and then it's going to be whatever track you need. So if we had another instrument, we'd probably send it to 910 and put it through here. And then you need to set your monitoring mode to in. Critical, otherwise you're not going to hear it. It needs to just be basically listening all the time and outputting the audio. If you need to bounce it later, you could do that. You just put record on, you just record it. Pretty straightforward. Now all of these I kind of edited a little bit just to sweeten them up. Mostly just adding saturation. A lot of people just don't mess with their drum samples and don't give them extra vibe. You got to do that. Don't neglect your drum samples. Don't be like, out of the box, this sounds good. Everybody's done that already. Another thing I do is I like to layer, especially with my snares. I like to have like a snare and a clap at the same time, or maybe two snares, maybe one that's kind of like a top end sizzle. Right now we're keeping it simple. So that's battery. I don't know what else we did with the hi-hats, but I'm gonna revisit that. I wanted to just kind of get like the idea out and see how I felt about it. And then we opened up Cloud Supply again, and we found this pad, the circling orbit. Once again, I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this so that we can hear the difference in sound. So we're gonna solo this. We're gonna turn off the compressor, no side chaining. You can see the release here on this one is a whole second, as opposed to the other instrument, which was like 41 milliseconds. That is real quick. Anyway, so a whole second, that's 1,000 milliseconds, by the way, in case you don't know. Milli is 1,000, right? So let's go ahead and go back to the initial sound I had, which was this pad circling orbit. This is what it sounded like. I was instantly down for that. Like that is eerie, man. So it just sounds good right out of the box. I gotta say, I gotta hand it to him. For the most part, I'm going through them. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I can mess with it. There's $25 well spent, I think. So now going over to the sound I ended up changing it to, a little bit different. So you hear that side chaining comes in real hard. But there's also some other kind of sizzle going on, and we're going to save that real quick. I can't remember what I did with the effects. There's no sequencer on this one. I think I mostly just played with the macros and the effects, and then just got that sidechain comp on there. I think the cutoff is a big one. The filter cutoff, you know, you're opening up a lot more sound if you open up the cutoff. All right, and so the last thing that I did, at least in the first session with this song, was I wanted to add a bass line before I went to sleep. And my video from yesterday was totally messed up from this, because this is when I put headphones on because I didn't want to disturb my housemate. So now this is a really, really cool plugin that I got recently. Y'all should get this, the Sublab from Future Audio Works. This thing is the quickest way to getting dope ass 808s. There's not a whole lot that goes into 808s, right? Like, everybody knows how to make one, right? But there's still so much range there, and this just, like, it's designed to just have the elements that you need right there, ready to go. It's in the right range. And also, if you just want to, like, copy some 808s that you hear in, like, some famous songs, like this is apparently like 808 NASCAR. I'm assuming that's like a NASCAR Allo kind of thing. I didn't change it too much. I think I messed with the distortion settings, so it's way more dirty. I think the original one didn't have anything here. I guess I'll just briefly kind of go through, like, the parts that you see in this plugin, because we might as well make this a little bit about this plugin as well. I think this thing was like 40 bucks. Not that expensive, totally worth it. It might be on like a discount. I think it's on, that's right. I think I got an early adopter discount. They're probably going to raise the price at some point if this becomes more popular. So get it cheap while you can, if it's still cheap. I don't know. I'm going to put a link in the description. It'll be down there. So we got 3 different sections here. You got your synth, you got your sampler, and you got your X sub, or this is basically like your low sub bass kind of feeling. It tells you right here, sub, main bass. We can edit the harmonics. You can edit the key, like if you need to tune it or whatever. This will help you get there. Your lows start at 30 hertz, which human hearing, in case you didn't know, is generally understood that we start hearing things at 20 hertz. There's no like useful notes all the way down there, but you still might want to have a little bit of that rumble. So 30 is probably fine though. Most speakers don't even go down to 20 hertz. So you kind of sense that anyway. The synth, as it says, it's a synth. So we're combining a synth and a sample at the same time, and that's how we get the flavor. So you got your synth section. These are like tabs, right? And you can just edit the synth or the sample. The sample, you got your tuning stuff going on same way, because the sample could be any pitch when it first comes in, right? So you got to correct it. You can do it down to the cents. You can also use different sections of the sample. It kind of loops it, or well, you can choose to loop it or not loop it. You can see it in action. It has some animation. You're gonna hear this. Oh my God! Look at my poor computer. We're hitting the 80s. We're getting the 80%, 86th percentile of the CPU usage, you guys. But you can see anyway right here, it shows you the playback every single time the note hits. We're not looping. We just play that sample one time. It gives it that extra. It tells you right there. That's the name of it. The kick, attack, thump. You can hear it. And I put a lot more distortion on it too. Now the synth is your main sound here. You can adjust your attack, decay, sustain, release, just like any synth. And you can have different types of waveforms. You could get from simple to a little bit more complex. I haven't really messed around with that too much, at least on this patch, because I just wanted to get to something that sounded good real quick, and I just did with a little bit of extra distortion. I think I may have changed the mix a little bit too. We're not even using this X sub right now. We're just using a lot of that sample to kind of give it that oomph. However, I'm also sidechaining it from the kick, because I don't want it to take away from the impact of the kick. I just want it to be there, but then like really come in after the kick. And you can see we also have a short release on this. I kind of just dialed it in just from listening, you know, just really using my ears. The ratio is also very low at 4.67, so we're not dipping the volume like crazy hard, but you can hear it. Just to hear it with the kick, you can hear the combination of the two. So basically what I did is I took the drum beat and I just brought it down here, and then I put it on the right root note and then added some melodic little section to it. Now it kind of sounds like part of this kick doesn't really match up that well with the impact of the sound. You can see I'm late. You can just see it right there. So let's go ahead and adjust this a little bit so that they're a little more matched up. This kick, like the bass kind of coming in early, is messing me up a little bit. So let's hear that. Oh, see, that sounds a lot better. So altogether, this is what we're working with right now. So what more could we do with this? It's real simple right now. We only got a few layers, but it sounds good already. But you know what? I think I want to add something a little bit to the intro, maybe some like effect or something. So let's see what we can do with that. I don't have Kontakt in my favorites. I guess I don't use it that much. Once again, we're going to be using the Cloud Supply effects patches. That's dope. I love the sounds coming out of this thing. I'm really liking this. I think what's happening is you're basically getting two samples at the same time, and that's kind of how they create the sound. You got A and B, hover and glyph. I don't know why you even select the tabs here, but these are your root sounds in Cloud Supply, right? So you can really just go wild messing with things. So let's change something. So all right, let's keep going through these effects. There's only a few of these. So each of these macros, they just kind of gave them their own names. It seems like it's the same on all of them. Delay and reverb, that's obvious. But these other ones, layer B crush and layer A crush, I don't even know what that is. Oh, okay. So adding crush here. There you go. Turns that knob. Yo, all right, so let's loop the intro here and just play along with it and see if I come up with anything that I like. We're just going for texture right now. Let's see how... Was that good? I don't even know. It definitely needs a sidechain, so we're gonna go ahead and just copy one that's somewhat set up already over. It sounds like out of key. Ooh. Bring that cutoff up a little bit. Maybe we get a little bit more of the actual note we're supposed to be hearing. That's some nice texture. I think I want to kind of do a... It's kind of in the way of things still, though. So I think what I need to do, or I think what I want to do, is try to get it wider stereo-wise. So we're going to use... Oh, man. Oh, my computer. Okay, what if We temporarily freeze this. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Oh my. Okay, what if we... That isotope thing is... it's gonna mess us up a little bit. Here we go. This is what we want. The imager. Real simple. It's already way stereo. Look at that. It's already going like... I just can't tell. Vector scope is lit. Look at that. What is this? Learn more. It's saying, hey, upgrade. That's cute. Now we're super wide. Oh, I like that. That's better that way. Let's hear it in the mix. I think once again we're gonna need to freeze because we can't do anything. We can't go anywhere with you. Now, before we wrap up this video, I think I want to just go through some more presets in the Cloud Supply, just show you guys a little bit more what it has to offer, and maybe add one more little something in here, little element, little layer. We'll see. We'll see. I got a lot of sounds to hear out of this thing, man. So we're gonna get another Kontakt going in here. All right, we got some other sections here. We got keys and key splits, and we got mallet, organ. Pat, I went through a little bit the plucks. Let's check the plucks real quick. Uh-huh. It's okay. Oh, that's kind of tight. Just put that in D minor real quick. And look at all these keys, man. You got any key. So it doesn't let you play bad notes in that sequence. I was kind of purposely seeing what would happen there. Trying like, not exactly D minor, but something even more minor. Diminished, I don't know, Phrygian, some shit like that. That's all right. So let's go check out some of these keys real quick. That is good. Oh, that evolves if you hold out this note, man. That is bah humbug. It's not balsamic, it's balsamic. Balsamic? I don't know what that means. Church with disconnected lights. That is very specific and accurate. All right, let's see about that. We're gonna put the loop back on. We're gonna record this. Maybe we weren't recording. Okay. All right, so let's. I think that's cool. I think I need to change the sound a little bit though. We need to make it like way more in the background, reverby. It's in a cave over somewhere, just being creepy, but it's still in the band. Maybe something along those lines. Maybe let's do some quantizing. Maybe not 100%, but like somewhere here, something like that. It's already super reverbed out. We're gonna put reverb directly on this because we want it to really be just wet. Let's solo this. Some weird EQ things I think we need on here. Some cavernous. A little bit to the left, maybe. I think we need to get some of the weird frequencies happening out of this. It's got this high pitch thing going on that I'm not super in love with. There it is, right? You can see it. Oh, we don't. We just need one here. Yeah, I think we need a dynamic EQ or compressor, so we're gonna get fancy here. We're gonna get real fancy, you guys. We're gonna use Ozone Dynamic EQ. There it is, yeah. Right there. All right, so band 4. All right, its tag needs to be right on it. Yeah, release. Ooh, yeah. We definitely want this on. This is working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. We'll just leave it at that, and then let's just try putting it across, and we're just gonna freeze it once again because my computer can't handle this shit. So creep sitar sound atmosphere. I feel real stupid for not putting a sidechain on it. Damn. We gotta unfreeze, guys. Nothing too crazy. Just a light bit of sidechain compression, and we'll go back. All right, no more solo. Apparently there's a wrong note in there. This is weird. I probably didn't mean to do that, but it sounded kind of cool. These are these happy accents. This is why it's good to actually play your parts instead of always just clicking them in. However, you don't want your shit to sound sloppy either. You do need to actually think about the imperfections and how they enhance the sound and not take away from it. On the first section of this video, I spent a lot of time just messing with the kick drums because I didn't want them to be perfectly on grid. And then in the end, I kind of put some stuff perfectly on grid because it needed to be at certain points. So, you know, you got to use your ear. And you got to trust your instincts, like what really sounds good. So we're at a pretty good spot with this, I think. I think I need to adjust this sitar a little bit. I don't really love the sequence. I don't think it's perfect. I think it could be better, but we're going to call it a video for now. I don't want to show you guys too much of this song before it's done. I'm going to work on this more. I'm going to stretch it out and like make it have some dynamics, give it some rises, some falls. We're not going to be doing build-ups. This is going to be like a vocal song, because I think I need to do a lot more of that right now. I got a lot on my mind. I got a lot to express. And I think this is probably the best way for me to do it. So if you actually got this far, if you learned anything, thank you. If you got any more questions about anything that I'm doing here, give me a comment. You can ask me whatever. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. This is NAWSH. I'm out.